Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Thanks so much for listening into this. This is of course a final exam prep. So a video about what should I study when thinking about the final exam, which will open up very soon. Of course that's highlighted in the course schedule, but I'm going to give an overview, tell you what to study. It's 53 questions long. It's going to be a total of 80 points. 53 questions, 80 points. Majority is short answer or multiple choice, and there are 3 essay questions. Now, mind you, the essay questions are 10 points each, so they're a larger percentage than the regular questions, and I have them at the bottom of the questions. So it's going to be the last thing that you have to do. So remember that when you're taking the exam, it's going to be 2 hours long. However, at the end, you're going to have essays. You want to leave yourself time to finish those essays. I'm going to try not to randomize it. So know when you're taking the exam, at the end, you need to leave time for essays because it's a 2-hour long test. So this is what you should study. You know, all the chapters that we went through, of course, the homework. If you didn't do the homework, you're really going to struggle because a lot of these questions are from the homework. So there's going to be some similarities there that you need to take a look at. So this is what you should study. Take a notebook out, write this down. Hopefully it's helpful. Luckily you can pause the video. That's really great too. Know what a generic greeting is? There's a true or false station about the true or false question, about the stages of communication. Know what unethical communication is. What is unethical communication? How to be a meaningful communicator, mindful and meaningful communicator. And part of that is understanding communication goals and avoiding stereotype behavior. Some fill-in-the-blank questions about what is communication and how it's determined, what type of process it is. All right, know about directives, utterances, stereotypes, and palindromes. You know what a palindrome is. Moving on, know about needs, feelings, observations, and thoughts. Needs, feelings, observations, and thoughts. Some more true or false questions. There's quite a few in here, so when I talked about multiple choice, true or false will be included in that, of course. What are code words? Code words. Know about culture, right? We talked about communication and culture. That's going to be in the chapters that we went over. How about coaching? So covert coaching. What is covert coaching? More culture questions. I tried to get a lot of those type of questions. What about identities, right? So we talked about identities. One of the questions highlights unexamined identities. Verbal fillers, right? That's a verbal filler. I just did one. By saying verbal fillers. What is that? Lots of true or false. I would say, a good 20 true or false questions. I haven't gone through to count exactly, but there's going to be quite a bit. Irrational thoughts, not just irrational behavior, but irrational thoughts. What are those? Know what, we talked about health campaigns, how we communicate health objectives. Know what a health campaign is. All right, moving on. More true or false questions. Know about what kind of market research, target audience, that type of thing. We talked about target audiences and communication. How do we get to the target audience? Of course, is doing research in the market we're communicating with. How about personal and impersonal communication? Those channels of communication, personal and impersonal. Now moving on about, into the 30s in regards to questions. And I'm not giving you the exact question or the exact answer, but I'm giving you a broad thing of what to study, just so you have an understanding of that. All right, what about thesis statements? So we're going to talk about how to write in this final exam. You're going to have to learn, of course, the writing process when it comes to understanding how to move forward. We've talked about that in this class. So there's a lot of questions surrounding APA and writing, and I tried to highlight that because we spent a few weeks on APA, so you should be very comfortable with it. Know what a thesis statement is. How does that work, and especially when it comes to APA. Chronological order. When is that used? What type of writing? And I'm going to give you this answer because it's a little confusing, and we actually didn't review this heavily, but it's expository writing. So it's not narrative writing, it's not persuasive writing, it's not descriptive, it's not convincing. So chronological order, you can find that in your text, but I gave you that answer just because I don't think we really highlighted that in this review process. But no, it's expository writing. Some more short answers in regards to describing the way a writer can get readers involved, and there's a lot of different things that you can list here. So there's no really right or wrong answer, so just make sure you think about that. It's a short answer question. A lot of different things in regards to how do we communicate in a concise manner, right? A concise manner. How do we communicate? Bullet points. What is that called? And you got to get an exact match if that's fill in the blank, right? And just know that this is, of course, I want to respond as lockdown, but you can still use your book. So you do have 2 hours, so you'll have to know where the information is because there are a lot of questions, but it is an open book test, so that is helpful. In regards to APA guidelines, know how the abstract, what type of length it should be. It's 150 words, right? So anything above 150 shouldn't be included. Lots of questions on plagiarism. What is plagiarism? What about the general APA formatting guide? How is APA formatted? You know, there's a lot of different things, and you should be able to find that pretty quickly in your book because we talked about it a lot. How do we format with APA? You're not going to be able to look at it on your computer, so you need to make sure you have your textbook out because this is on lockdown browser, so you want to make sure you're ready to go. I would literally have sticky notes in my textbook so I knew where to go for each question related to APA or anything else. But of course, if you've read the material, it should be fairly simple for you. What is plagiarism? More questions on plagiarism. You should know what that is by now. How about DOIs? What are DOIs and why do we use them? When do we use them? What role does a DOI play when trying to find sources online? So 3 essays. I'm not going to give you those questions because they're very broad in nature, and I don't think you're going to have trouble with those because there's a lot of different ways you can answer them. But those are the items that you should study for this final exam. Again, 53 questions right now. I could whittle this down to 52 or maybe even closer to 50, so more to come with that. Total points, that's going to come up from the perspective of, it's going to be anywhere from 75 to 80. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. My one ask is take the time to study, because if you don't, this can really impact your grade in a negative way, and I want you to do well on this exam. I'll list more information soon in the announcement section that'll highlight more items to study, and I'm going to do it in a bullet format, so that'll be coming near the end of this next week. But I'm hopeful this gives you a shot to get started moving through the chapter and get the knowledge basis running, so we're ready to go from that perspective. If you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. Always here to help and support you. Thanks so much for listening to Ann, and I'm looking forward to a great final exam grade for all of you. Thanks.